Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. I am your host, Ben, and with me as always are my co-hosts.
What's going on? It's Matt.
What up? It's Andrew.
So we are, the last little remnants of not E3 have just kind of been trickling out like in a slow dribble.
As of recording, it's officially not June anymore. So I'm saying not E3 is officially over.
But is it? But is it though? Like, I mean, yeah, technically the ones we're covering today still happened in July, but like,
June.
June.
Got you.
I'm all mixed up.
Time isn't real.
And that's what we're going to get to as well, because we're going to talk about we're going to kind of reflect a little bit on this whole experience, and it's kind of been it's definitely smoothed some wrinkles in my brain. So
I've gained a whole additional wrinkle set in my brain. I've expanded beyond.
You're expanding your consciousness. Okay, well, good for
you. You added folds.
Good for you. Good for you.
Like in most anime, it comes through great tragedy and pain.
Yes. So yeah, no games without the struggle involved. But yeah, so we had two showcases, two directs,
two little
Nintendo.
Salt sprinkles by Salt Bay Nintendo.
Yeah.
Salt
just giving
Bay still
us
relevant in 2022.
For charging exorbitant prices at his ridiculous restaurants.
With bad food apparently.
Yeah. Well, probably ridiculously over salted, because I mean that's probably the only seasoning he uses is salt. But all right, we're gonna jump right into it because it coincides with our our heated gaming moment. Yeah, it's like say Matt is definitely super duper salty. But the first one that Nintendo deigned to give us, after basically being entirely absent from the rest of the proceedings, was a dedicated direct for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So before we get into, Matt, your thoughts on what was actually shown there, I skimmed through it yesterday.
Yep.
But like give it, what's been your experience as because it's coincided with at least the advertised ability to pre-order and get your copy. But so how's your experience?
So listeners might remember about 3 episodes back, I came on with the same level of salt and angst because Nintendo decided that they were going to limit the special edition launch of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to the My Nintendo store. And by doing so, their website, when they originally did this back on like June 1st, crashed near immediately at the immediate influx of everyone trying to flood to their page on the day that they opened the pre-order window. It was like 30 seconds before the site had just completely started a crash loop and like nothing on the website functioned anymore before they shut it down. And they came out like 5 hours later while the website was still crashed. And like, hey guys, bless hands, we're sorry. We didn't realize this was going to be such a problem.
Yeah.
We're going to do this again.
Our notoriously shitty internet infrastructure, like who could have thought that there would have been a problem here?
Well, we're gonna do this again. We'll let you know when, and we'll be better. It'll be better this time. Bless hands. We promise.
We promise. We promise. You trust us, right?
Do you think they're like store devs were just like watching that happen in real time, just like, all right, start the stopwatch. We got about 20 seconds.
Yeah, with my understanding of people who work in information technologies, or IT, as we call it, they probably saw what was going to happen and then all just took a break at the exact same time and just disappeared.
Just like time to log off.
They didn't want to be on the receiving end of what was about to happen, because yes, Nintendo did come back and they're like, hey, you know what? June 30th, guys, bless hands. We're going to institute a queue system. You're going to come onto the website. We'll tell you when. We'll tweet it out before it happens so people can get ready. They can get logged in on their, My Nintendo page and whatnot, get all their payment info preloaded so it's nice and seamless. We'll do it June 30th, bless hands. Everyone, okay.
That could go wrong.
Okay, Nintendo, I trust you. I believe you. Let's do this. And then it comes.
Well, there's your first mistake.
Yeah, right. It's the age old idiom. It's like fool me once, fool me twice. Like, who's really to blame here?
Oh no, everyone's at fault. This is a failure of everybody involved. June 30th rolls around. And what's the first thing that happens? The store opens with no tweet to let anyone know.
That's
So
awesome.
I find out from a Reddit post that was posted like 3 minutes before I saw it. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm still here. Maybe I got a chance. It was a no tweet to let us know, but whatever. We're just going to get in there. We're going to do it live. All right. I open the website. It says I'm in line. It says I'm in a queue. Gives me a number, tells me a time. An improvement. These are things that like a modern infrastructure lets happen.
Yeah.
Then I get my spot.
Reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Then I get to my spot. It opens up the page, and I have an add to cart button. It's amazing. This is amazing. I've never gotten this far. I hit add to cart. Nothing happens. No reaction. The website doesn't update. There's no indication that anything has been pushed. I think, oh no, that's not good. This is really bad. Because I know if I refresh the page, I'm going to be put back into the queue.
You're going to lose your queue spot. No.
So it is very apparent that at this point, the website has again crashed. And they are now incapable of fulfilling.
You just weren't quick enough. You weren't fast
enough. So I
refresh.
I get back into queue. I pop back into the end. My cart says there's something in it. I go over to my cart. I say, okay, cart, show me. Show me what is here. Show me what this number one that is next to you in a bracket is. And I open it and it says, it gives me a paragraph. And it's like, hey, we know that the last time you were logged in here, you had something in your cart. We saved it for you because we know that you wanted to keep it in your cart. So here it is. And as I scroll past this paragraph is another sentence says, ooh, it looks a little lonely in here. You should probably add something to your cart because there's nothing in my cart. Well, it says there's something in my cart.
God damn. Oh my God.
Further proof that the website has crashed. So I get frustrated. I just shut it down. I'm like, whatever. Whatever.
Shut it.
If it's in my cart, it's in my cart, and maybe I'll be able to get it later. I log in like 6 hours later after work, and it's in my cart. I open my cart. There it is. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition. Amazing. It's there. It shows it. Followed by out of stock.
So did anybody get it? Did it?
There are eBay listings for $300.
Jesus Christ!
For a $90 special edition.
Dude, like literally, put all scalpers against the wall in Minecraft.
For real. Real.
So that was my experience trying to give extra money for things that I like. And let me just add a little bit of frustration to the top of this cherry. So you don't get the special edition at launch. You get the game. The day the game comes out, you get the game. And then there's just a fall 2022, we'll send you everything else. So if you don't have it on hand, why can I not order one? And then you just tell me it'll be November when I get the stuff because you have to make more of it.
There's no actual physical stock involved in this. Yeah, you're literally just putting your name on a ledger
for an art book and a custom art steel book done by the artist of the series.
Amazing.
But we'd love to see it's just again how Nintendo is just like actively hostile to having customers give them their money for things, which
part of me genuinely thinks
I gotta respect at some level.
Part of me genuinely
treat your customers like the little
thinks
piggies that they are.
That they didn't expect this to happen again. That they didn't expect this many people to go after it, and they were just like, yeah, it'll be fine. Like our internet is perfectly capable of handling, this website is fine. You don't need to change anything. Focus on opening Super Nintendo World 7 in Saudi Arabia.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, can you get it on the Switch store, Matt?
Oh no, I can buy the game wherever I want. All I wanted
It's just the special
all I wanted
edition.
was the 300-page art book.
Got it.
I don't understand what is so difficult, Nintendo. I'm not about to pay $300 to someone on eBay for something that I would not spend $300 on. That's quite a steep
that's
overpay.
That's bullshit.
Especially for the fact that they won't have it in stock. So I'm just relying on them to ship me their stuff
Yeah,
when
it's
they
totally
get it.
just good faith. Yeah, some good faith shenanigans right there.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, we all know that that scalpers have our best interest at
Yeah,
heart.
they've hand on the Bible and they swear in. They're like,
They're not just going to take your money and fuck off.
They send eBay a video of that. No, how many people are just gonna get like a piece of paper with Xenoblade drawn on it?
And crayon, and
just like paid $300.
not even
for.
3, just Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
All right. So
Spelled with a Z.
pour one out for Matt. Just going through that not once but twice.
I still have hope
again,
that they're going to open another window, and maybe the third
You're
time
foolish.
they'll learn from it. But at the same time, at this point, I'm just going to wait, and the closer I get, I'll just buy the game at like Walmart or something if I have to.
This is borderline self-harm at this
Mhm.
point. I feel concerned for you.
It's fine.
I'm just like I'm gonna have to send you like the Memento meme and just don't believe his lies, but it's just Nintendo's been over it. But so what'd you actually have to think of what they showed at the direct?
Oh, what they showed at the direct was great. I liked what they showed. I thought, admittedly, and this is just a me thing, I wasn't prepared for the main character to be a boy. I was expecting girl boss based on the pants and the ponytail. But he's Noah. His name is Noah. He's very much a boy. He sounds very similar to Rex and Shulk in the, they grabbed someone from Wales and put marbles in their mouth and told them to told them to recite the alphabet so they could create an AI from their voice.
Yeah. Dude, that is absolutely one of the unmistakable or undeniable charms of these games, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I like to think the Japanese versions that their Japanese has somehow like an English accent to it.
One of those funny things, I tend to play games centered in Japan in Japanese because I think the voice acting is better.
Do you?
But I've never done that with Xenoblade. I've only played Xenoblade English. Because like Persona, I find better in Japanese than English because the Japanese voice actors put more into the performance.
Yeah, actually, and imbue more character into it. And that's what you see is like, only people of culture, say listen or play their JRPGs in Japanese. It's a necessity.
You still have subtitles in English, so you still what's going on.
Oh, sure, yeah. But yeah, since I've only played part of the first one and haven't played 2, obviously for me seeing that there's the combat mechanics in terms of the actual physical mechanics of buttons and stuff, attacks keyed to button specific buttons looked cool to me. I like that.
That's from Xenoblade 2.
Okay, I thought it probably was, but it was just like for me, just like again playing the first one.
You have to remember the first one was on the
scrolling
Wii.
through this bar. Yes, scrolling through this bar, like fuck. I'm trying to get to the right one. Like I can't do it. It's like I missed the opportunity to heal my party member, and he goes down. While I'm trying to scroll over to the healing art.
You have to remember on the Wii, there was the wiggle motion and the nunchuck. Yeah, they had things going on with the Wii that led to some interesting control schemes. It's a good game.
It's still fun though. I'm still enjoying it. That's for sure.
But I really enjoyed. It looks like they're going back to the Xenoblade 1 type of combat with Xenoblade 2's combat layout. Is how it feels.
Okay.
Because Xenoblade 2 had the unique mechanic where your weapons had a living soul attached to them. So you had someone pointed out you had the same amount of characters on the screen as you will in this one. But instead of 3 party members and 3 blades attached to them, you have 6 party members fighting at the same time. So it's a lot more going on simultaneously.
Oh, damn.
I'm interested to see how the Switch handles that. Monolith Software has done a really great job optimizing their games to run on Switch. So I'm sure they'll have that it'll be fine. But I'm interested to see how the Switch handles 6 characters doing things at the same time, if it melts.
Sure. I thought it looked good though.
Oh, it did look good. I thought the combat looked nice. I think the story they're going for seems really cool. It's kind of just Japanese, but like the people playing the flutes to salute the dead at the end and of like battles and stuff, and like the ceasefire that goes on there. It feels very like I like the traditional aspect they get to that. The 10 years of life is very dystopian. It's like you have 10 years and all you have to do is like fight in war for those 10 years. Like,
and then you get sacrificed, right?
Yes.
Isn't that the plot point? Yeah, we love it. We love it. War is life.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty well committed to. I obviously won't get through them in nearly enough time before the game itself comes out, but it'll go on my shelf to play eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll take me.
It's never bad to have a decent length JRPG in your pocket to be able to throw in there occasionally, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I like having some chunkier Switch games too.
Yeah,
just to
well,
be able
I'm
to
surprised at Triangle Strategy.
dedicate some
Triangle
time.
Strategy is surprisingly chunky to me.
How you were telling me the other day you just got your first ending.
Yep.
What was your hour mark there?
50 hours first ending.
That's what I heard. Yeah, it was like 50.
And it's one of those I could have
done.
done it probably shorter, but I wanted to take advantage of the side fights and stuff to get some materials so I could kit out some of my troops, because you get a lot of troops at the end of the game.
Cool.
But
interesting.
It's a fun one. I was not expecting this, little pixel art HD 2D tactical RPG to have some like emotional cues like it did for the last like 6 chapters. So it was like lots of pulling me back and forth moments. Like I will put it on record that my first ending was free the slaves and start a new country.
Yeah. Good.
And
that always sounds like a right
and
option.
the old country that I abandoned, all 3 nations plunged into like brutal civil war because of power vacuums.
Nice.
Very, very American.
Oh, one of the countries is very much America. It's an industrial country built on freedom, but the freedom is only for the wealthy elite.
Ooh, we love
But
it.
speaking of surprisingly emotional Switch games, that kind of leads us into our next thing. We had our Nintendo Direct Mini, where
some might say you'll never see it coming. That's a joke for people who understand.
So yeah, it goes right over my head. But
that's a Persona reference. One of the songs from Persona 5.
But the one that I'll just say that stuck out to me and is definitely going to make me cry rivers is the black and white game Blanc with the little doe.
Yep.
Or the little deer and the wolf cub, forming bonds and snuggling each other, and the
major Fox and the Hound vibes. I'm ready to be.
Absolutely. No, it's like, please, destroy my life.
Just immediate Vietnam flashbacks to being a child and seeing some of those Disney films that definitely didn't have the happy endings that you were expecting.
Definitely, didn't give me long-standing emotional trauma. So I'm prepared for that game to be similar. But yeah, there was actually, like, when I was first watching the direct, I'm like, oh, there's actually not a lot here for me.
When you go back through,
as I was going back through it, yeah, and it's actually I think there's some cool stuff here. Let's kind of, like, I guess, take it from the top. Or I guess we'll open it to you guys. Was there anything in particular here that stuck out to you? And it's like, we've seen the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak thing multiple times now.
Monster Hunter Rise is actually one of the best selling Monster Hunter games to date. Like, huge player base.
No, they're continuing to do monster numbers. Was
that a goofy?
That was a goofy yuck.
Yeah, absolutely, man, dude, love it. So yeah, I mean, that doesn't really, I think, bear talking about more. We say Matt and I, however, or I don't know if you did yet, but I picked it up in the Steam Summer
I'm going to be
sale,
doing my Steam sale purchasing now. I've given myself enough time to look through it and comb through everything. I'm going to piece together my purchases.
I ended up getting way too much.
It happens. I mean, especially when you don't have as, like, my Steam library is fairly large already, so a lot of the good deals I've already partaken on.
Yeah, mine's still growing. So
Exactly. And this Steam Summer Sale is a great way to grow your library because you can get some really good games for $5.
yeah, I didn't pay too much for any one particular thing. I got some. I definitely was more. I just found a lot of stuff for a
Yeah.
good price. But okay, let's get back to
Back on track.
though. Yeah. So again, I think we can skip that one. But anything.
I do just want to say I don't know how I feel about that game on the Switch. Like I feel like a part of that is the visuals.
Oh no, I'm
and-
absolutely playing that game on PC.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Right.
no. I know you guys are both going PC, but that's one
That
of the
was my
ones where it
question.
just-
That was my question to Matt when we bought it. Is like, you know, like
It apparently
Like, I know
runs
it's a
really
Switch
well on
game.
the Switch.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Okay.
like it's surprising to me that it's, you know, it's done so well on, you know, a console with limited hardware. Let's be honest. But
I mean,
yeah.
not to rag on the Switch, I love my Switch. It's probably
Oh,
my
no,
favorite
yeah, it has-
video game console of all time at this point. But it is running a Tegra processor from 2014. So like we're approaching the point where it's
Yeah.
gonna need to, like, prediction on the table right now, no gun to my head. Nintendo puts out a revision
Turn the
next
cameras
year,
on.
2023 March.
I mean, they've been
Heard it here first,
they
folks.
were talking a lot about how I remember we were posting articles about you know, the tragic stuff with Gary Bowser, you know, that company that he was involved with that was like doing emulation stuff, is
Yeah.
like how the work that they were doing there is actually what forced them to update Switch hardware. So, you know, they're you know, stretching it out as far as possible, but you know, I think the dam is starting to break there.
I mean, they're definitely not going to abandon the Switch ecosystem in any way. They're definitely going to want to keep adding, because if you do iterative consoles, you can still count them as sales numbers for that base model, because like the Game Boy counts both the black and white and color when you count the total sales. So like if they get like a Switch Pro or something, they can still wrap that in, so they can hopefully get to there, because I think they're fourth right now all time, and they want to try to surpass the PS2 to get to number one, because you know that's
That
how
makes sense.
the Japanese CEOs get their rocks off.
So I want to make sure that I get both of your guys' opinions here, but you know, so I guess actually, Andrew, is there anything here that stuck out to you? Because again, Matt is the real resident, you know, good boy for Nintendo. So we know that he'll have thoughts, but you know, anything that stuck out to you here?
I liked the fact that Portal's coming to the Switch actually has me
Switch
excited,
is
'cause I think
perfect for
that's, like,
Portal,
yeah, that's a perfect Switch
especially
game,
because of the
and
gyro.
I've never played those.
It makes it so much
Yep.
better for aiming with the stick.
So was excited to see that. I think I'll probably pick those two.
I have
up.
I have a
Definitely
quick
wanna
thought.
check
I have a
them out.
quick thought though. I read something about this. It is, however,
Okay.
tempered by the bit that, you know, you say, like, for you particularly, you have a Switch, you have one in your hands. You also then don't
Mhm.
have to wait months and months and months and spend upwards of $500 to get your hands on a Steam Deck. But say it's like someone was kind of critiquing the Portal thing. It's like, oh, do I really want to spend you know, $20-$30 on Portal games when I could like get it for $2 on Steam, you know,
On Steam.
and you know, play it on a Steam Deck handheld. There are those other limiting factors that you got to take
It's
into
$20,
account that, like,
and honestly, $20 for Portal and Portal 2 is quite the.
I see. Yeah, I still think it's a
Yeah.
good deal, but yeah, you're right. It
Yeah.
is a definitely a good fit. But sorry, you mentioning that reminded me of that opinion piece I read. Go ahead.
No, and that's a fair point, but I'm kind of with Matt. Like,
It just gets Portal in
I'm
more
okay
people's
paying
hands.
more to have the portability.
And like for
Yeah.
me, the whole
And-
idea of you get people interested in games like that, and then potentially down the line they, you know, find more interest in PC, as they can find more of those PC games that are similar to the Portal aspect, or like Half-Life, you know, the Valve made games. Half-Life coming to Switch would be interesting. I don't know if they could pull it off,
Yeah, that would.
but I mean, they did it for Portal.
That'd be impressive. Besides that, I thought Blanc looked super cute. I don't know if I'll actually end up playing that one though, but I did think that looked really cute as well. And then Return to Monkey Island. Those were always fun games. So maybe at some point I could see myself picking that up as well.
Man, but man, the fucking the so-called, I'm doing heavy air quotes here, the fucking quote unquote fan base for Monkey Island are being fucking terrible.
Not happy.
They're being fucking awful.
Oh.
They're like harassing the creator. Like he had to like shut down his blog about it. It's like not doing any more announcements because they apparently don't like the art style, which
it's fine.
I don't understand. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool.
He literally
I thought it
looks stylish as hell.
Okay.
He literally said he wouldn't have made a new Monkey Island if it wasn't allowed to have a new art style. Like he wanted.
He's like, I don't give a fuck if this is not what you want. It's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And, I'm making the fucking game, so kind of eat my shit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'm sure that's just the vocal minority.
It's always
of
how it
people,
ends up being.
That are the
you
fans.
see this a lot with video game journalism, where they'll be like, people are saying, or they're talking about like, the angry fans on Twitter, and the angry fans on Twitter don't necessarily always represent the average like user, because the type of people to go to forums or Twitter like spaces
right
and like complain, or they're specialized,
are the insane people.
Yeah.
Are the
Yeah.
already insane
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
And they know how to just like blast that out to the internet like repeatedly and make it look like it's a much larger group of people than it really is.
But
Yeah, no, I feel for the creator though, like no one wants to deal with that shit.
Sucks. That's bullshit. Yeah, so those are kind of my highlights. Is just I know I'm these titles in general aren't really my vibe for the most part. I just haven't committed to the JRPG game the way Matt has.
Yeah, so that speaking of
I'll dip my toe.
speaking of
I'll dip my
JRPGs
toe.
though, and expansions on it, Matt, what are your thoughts on the Dragon Quest Treasures game?
so Dragon Quest is an interesting series because there are very rarely Dragon Quest games that are bad. Dragon Quest tends to be at the very bare minimum just like a very like average okay to decent game. So it gives me hope that it could be interesting. I've never really been huge on the Dragon Quest spin-offs as much as I have been the Final Fantasy spin-offs. Because generally speaking, the US doesn't get treated the same way with Dragon Quest as we do with Final Fantasy. We don't always get every Dragon Quest game. Key in point, Dragon Quest X is getting an offline, because it was an MMO. It's getting an offline version for PS5 in Japan, but we don't get it here because they don't want to localize it. Just an example, but it's interesting to me. Like I'll definitely keep an eye on it. It's using characters from Dragon Quest XI, so it's always cool to see side characters continue to have their own plot line. Technically speaking, these characters have more plot significance than Waluigi does in any Nintendo game.
Don't you disparage my boy.
Wow. But no, that's I'm interested to see how that goes. It's one of those things I'm more interested to see what they're doing with the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. That's a very interesting. That's one of the best Dragon Quest games, period. And that's one of the real Akira Toriyama. Like if you look at the art of that game, that's just Dragon Ball. Goku is in that game, little kid Goku. I'm interested.
Doesn't Dragon Quest have Dragon Balls in it?
They're not called Dragon Balls, okay? They're called like light crystals. And instead of 8 of them, you need 7. So it's completely
or 6 or something. Right? Fuck.
It's completely different. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Stop grilling me, sir. I'm sweating a lot. But no, this actually had a lot of JRPG news at this Nintendo Mini. Semi-related to JRPGs. I'm surprised as shit they got Nier Automata running on the Nintendo Switch, and it's not like a cloud version. That's wild to me.
All right, settle something for me. Is it pronounced Nier Automata or
Yes.
Automata?
So this is a
I was
50-50.
wondering that.
And Yoko Taro will never come out and tell us himself because he's a pain pig and likes to watch us suffer for his art. I think it's Automata, Nier Automata.
That one sounds better to me. It sounds better to me.
Yeah,
But
it
Nier
does sound better. I
Automata
agree.
does sound more Japanese.
Sure.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I say
think
Nier
that's fair.
Automata because that's how it just rolls off better for me. Again, I'm shocked that this game is running on Switch hardware. That's wild to me.
Listen, as an American, you are entitled to pronounce foreign words
however you damn please.
however you want them. So like that becomes the right way to pronounce
I'd like
it.
a case of Diller. Give me that salsa.
I didn't think about it, Andrew. Yeah, thank you. That settles all confusion in my mind. So our devil Western tongue is all that matters.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a game that I recommend to anyone to play into. Like Andrew, you'd even like that game. That's a nice hack and slash combat style with some bullet hell aspect. The story is incredible. It really iterates on itself because it to get the full story requires 4 playthroughs because each playthrough follows a different character's perspective on the story. It's really interesting.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and each one provides you more context.
That is a cool.
Yeah.
I bought the first. I bought the again going back to
Replicant.
the Steam sale. I bought Replicant in the.
Sorry,
Steam
Nier
sale.
Replicant
That's probably
version
the
1.304572692.
well, yeah. However, basically Nier Replicant Pi edition. But yeah, no, that one I snagged. It's probably the most expensive one that I got. It was maybe like $20 or 15.
Yeah, that's one that I need to play as well. I just haven't gotten to, and I know it'll be fun because Nier Automata is probably in my top 10 games all time. If I had a gun to my head right now and had to spit out 10.
I know you talk that one up a lot, yeah. And again, because
there's just so much in that story.
The games with your replayability too.
Yeah. But to cap it off with the JRPG glory, I'll just quickly touch on. We have a Square Enix, Stardew Valley, Terraria type clone, with what was it called, Harvestella.
Harvestella, yeah.
It's one of those those games don't really do much for me. Square is a company that I trust more than others. I'm sure it'll be a fun game. It might even be something that gets me to try it because it's Square and I can trust that it'll be okay. But that's neither here nor there. The real news, friends.
How much longer do you give Square that trust? Is my.
It depends.
question.
They haven't really stepped on my trust as much as other people in the weird way.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later in the episode.
But the real blessed hands, thank you, Daddy, was Persona 5 Royal, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 3 Portable coming to Nintendo Switch. I think handhelds are the best place for Persona. I think Persona shines when it can be played in bites, in pieces, because the way the format is laid out, you're a schoolboy, so you take it day by day, going through school, going through different things. So you can just pull it out real quick and play a couple days a week. Get through a couple classes, take a quiz, and then put it down. Be pick up and play is really part of the charm. Persona 4 Golden was a Vita game, and that was where I played it.
Are you telling me that you go to middle school for fun in this?
It's high school,
game?
thank you, sir.
That's what you're doing.
It's high school because they have to make it semi okay that there's romance.
Got it. Okay, good to know.
I wasn't even thinking of it in terms of that regard, but just enjoying middle school. Psychotic.
Going to take quizzes.
Psychotic.
Yeah, imagine a game centered around the idea of every day you wake up and some random puberty thing is happening to your body and you have to contend with that.
Okay.
All right, so I had I guess then I'll kind of cap it off. I guess there was one that was kind of a surprise to me that looked cool, although I'm trying to scroll through and make sure I have it correct. Oh yeah, RPG Time: The Legend of Wright. It's one of those that, again, I don't know that I'll actually play it, but it's an idea that's really cool. Maybe it's something I get it and I play with my nephew or something when he's old enough, introduce him to kind of RPGs, because it does very much seem like a
make sure you don't
game,
introduce him to Minecraft first. You don't want him to become a Minecraft. He can
Yeah,
play
yeah,
Minecraft once he's
yeah.
gained an appreciation for other games, but you can't.
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But no, it's
Advice
cool.
for,
It's like
advice for new gaming parents.
it is, it is truly hand drawn, but it also that is like the aesthetic, and that's the thing. It's the idea is of it playing through a, it's like some kid's journal as they're dreaming up their own game that they're going to be creating. They are the game creator, and they are making this RPG in their paper notebook, and you've got to draw with a pencil and erase and do puzzles that way.
So you mean they? You mean me? Because I'm playing as God in this game, which means I am the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I thought it looks cool. Again, I like it
cool.
seemed inventive and some cool stuff. It reminded me a lot of the Plucky Squire in the sense of
I was gonna say it gave me
Yeah,
Plucky
page
Squire
book kind of
vibes.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it is
And Plucky
it's
Squire
obviously
is
different.
my most anticipated game right now for the rest of the year.
I'm kind of right there with you. The socialist in me knows that I should really look into the rail grade, the train based railway simulator, but I'm not a big management sim
Yeah,
fan.
management
so,
sim
like,
games don't do much for me.
if it was just a train simulator,
Way
like
better.
you have like
Way better.
Euro Trucker Simulator or Farm Simulator.
Train
Well, you've seen me
tycoon.
at your house playing mini motorways, where you just
Mhm.
connect little highways between houses to the shops to keep them optimized. Like those
That
types
just
of like
seems like
road
a
sims
way
and
to
stuff like-
manage your OCD.
yeah, exactly.
But then okay, so those were the ones that I actually thought looked cool and looked exciting beyond the ones that you guys already mentioned. I will say before I get to my negative thoughts, I gotta say I guess it's for the future, but we got another look at Mario and plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which I guess I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. What they showed in the mini wasn't necessarily what spoke to me. It's
got a new
their
combat
announcement
system.
of a and that's definitely was what interests me. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that later because it's also kind of falls under something else we wanted to talk about. But man, what they showed of Sonic Frontiers here has it's less about what they showed and what the new wave of write-ups that it has generated that has really got me. It's like there's like an embargo was lifted, so now that they're able to show the aspect of this game called cyberspace, which is like making more traditional Sonic levels.
Yeah.
And so I saw this piece and I sent it to Matt, and it was just like, this dude is like, bending himself into fucking pretzels just to try to have something good to say. But it's basically it's like that, that these more traditional Sonic levels are really the highlight of the game. And what it actually even seems to be is that the open world stuff is just like connective bits to get you to the next cyberspace thing. So it's just like, why the fuck then have the open world shit or open zone? I'm sorry, but like, then why have it? It just seems so fucking stupid.
Never a good thing when like side portion of the game is what the reporters are saying is the best aspect. Like
that game is just fucking
that'd be like people saying that the best part of GTA is the driving.
Yeah, effectively.
I mean, hell, there are games
So,
where like the those kind of traversal things where they're gamified in a fun way becomes really cool. Like say Spider-Man, like the swinging.
Dude, I loved swinging through the city as Spider-Man, but that was because the city felt alive, felt real.
Right.
I heard people having arguments in bodegas.
Yeah, not just like you're just running through a blank wilderness with things popping in every 2 seconds to fill in this blank space. Like, oh man, that game looks dead on arrival for me. That's DOA for me.
I mean, it's just the fact we've talked about it before. The fact that their creator has basically said like, we're not delaying this game. We're happy with it. Like, this is what you're getting.
You just don't understand it.
Yeah. Like, this is what you're getting. Stop being unhappy about it, you swine. I assume that's how Sega talks to people. I'm a golden god. The 90s were my best.
All right, so yeah, this was a small showcase. This was third party titles only. Only about a 25-minute showcase, kind of cap things off for not E3. So that just kind of leads me to the next thing. I don't know how much time we'll spend on this, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what did you feel? How did you feel about this? And like I'm have now firmly gone into the point we're not calling this whole thing Summer Games Fest. It is not E3, because
especially because next year
just,
E3 is coming back, so that we can just
supposedly
pretend
like this didn't happen. But what are your thoughts? Like what was your impressions been? We've made jokes about it, again, even at the top of this episode about what it was like kind of trying to cover all these different showcases, but like was it successful or engaging to you guys? Did it did it serve the same purpose that E3 did? Did it succeed in its ambitions?
So I think part of the issue is it was just too spread out, so that the few momentary highs that each conference had, some of the conferences again developed digital. I think the whole thing was a high, but like all of the momentary highs of each individual show weren't strung together close enough to build that type of like hype after hype of like a 6-hour E3 conference where like each time a new person comes up, you get their quick reel of their best of the best. They've got their, imagine if all of those big hitters were in one show with some of the medium stuff interconnecting them versus shows filled with filler to get you to 2 hours.
And I definitely think there's something to be said about the fact that each showcase is its own discrete thing, kept away and kind of just these like just kept in like a clean clean room of its own. It's like hermetically sealed boxes where there's no interplay going between them, because man, I think it's actually a good thing to have like where you throw all these developers and all these publishers into one building basically, and make them having to contend with each other.
We have a 6-hour show
each other,
and you need to bring your best because each of you only has your time slot, and you have to like show everyone why your studio is someone we should be trusting in the year 2022 of our Lord.
Not to mention that the pre-recorded stuff, like precludes any, or it's like allows it to allows them to put whatever level of polish that they want to put on that, like, kind of mystifies, the actual state of what are these games. You're not going to get where like, a game malfunctions on the showroom floor, which lets you really a keen insight into where this game stands.
It also did take a lot of the hands-on from the post-show conference, where the journalists get to go play all these demos and stuff, because that's where you get some of the real feel, because that's where like Sonic Frontiers had their huge like, you can't talk about this, basically tell them you enjoyed the game.
Enjoy the game, put a gun to your head. I think my thoughts are that this is going to be how it is going forward, even if E3 returns, because the ability for these companies to control the narrative in this type of format is just so much greater. And to Ben's point, like they can't have it just fuck up like they can at E3. So I don't know that it's going to ever go back to what it was, even though I do think that was a better experience for the consumer on a comparative basis.
The thing is, you could still have E3 and have these individual conferences. Out of the bag. You can have your E3 stinger hits where you show off the big stuff, and you can be like, hey, check out our conference in a week where we're going to be showing some other stuff alongside like a deep dive of X game for the like Nintendo does their treehouse after their direct.
Yeah. But I think Andrew's right here. It's like, why would they want to do that? Why would these companies choose to put themselves, or like to risk that level of exposure, let alone for the actual real implications of exposure to things like COVID going forward, like that makes me skeptical that these big in-person events are a thing of the past. why would they willingly do that? You see companies like Sony are just completely abandoning. They said, like,
Right.
they've already said they're not going to Gamescom. That's the Germany one, right? That's the one.
I think so. I think you're right there, Ben. And maybe the one positive on that is that it gives indies a bigger platform. Like maybe E3, I could see E3 becoming more of an indie.
Well, that's what this was.
Showcase, which is
that's another point as well. It's like this was the definite standouts were the smaller games, and it's just the fact that I think is again that there's these larger studios are still reeling from the effects of COVID and from remote work and all that they just didn't have a lot to show.
You also forgot to mention the like rampant sexism and other workplace issues that have forced workers out of the industry. But
absolutely, no, these big studios are hemorrhaging talent all the time, because they are absolutely terrible places to work.
And that's why you end up with new studios built off of like former studio devs, where you have like the Callisto Protocol, former Visceral devs, the people for Stormbreak, like the people who are former
or the people
StarCraft devs,
Blizzard devs,
yeah,
and then you got like the people behind Nightingale or BioWare, it's
so all, like you get a lot of these people.
That's definitely a trend.
Do go and make their own studio with hookers and blackjack, which is another thing that we should be supporting, but also like wary of, because who is leaving the studio to create their own studio?
Yeah, are they the harassers or
fine? If we can't harass here, we'll make our own.
We'll go do it. Yeah, we'll go do it where we're in control.
We'll draft our own constitution that says it's not harassment and it's just workplace policy.
All right. Any other thoughts? I thought it was, again, it got to a point for me where it was just kind of mind numbing, just the sheer quantity of games. Like again, like you said, Matt, just it being spread over such a long period of time. It felt like this weird kind of roller coaster of up and down. Like
it felt like each one was trying to be longer than it needed to be. Like everyone wanted to like stretch out like a full 2. I think some of them were even like 3 hours of conference. It's like you can really cut some of that down and get it to like an hour and 15, hour and 30. And like it becomes significantly less of like, do we really need to see 10 plus minutes of Modern Warfare 2 people walking on a boat? Do we really need 10 plus minutes dedicated to grass in a racing game? Like, things like that, where you're just spending your time needlessly on things that just to make it look like you have more to show.
All right, but so we're talking about these the general, like, this is reflective of the for lack of a better word, the toxic kind of nature of this industry, and the power structures at play. So that kind of leads us into our next kind of overarching thing, is that the the usual suspects, the friends or enemies of the pod, however you want to put it, they're back at it again, folks.
Was it in the old Hanna-Barbera like cartoon group, was it the Legion of Doom, who had like a fortress that was like a helmet that like lifted up out of the water? Like
the Legion of Doom, it's just like a DC thing, I know.
Either way, I'm specifically picturing this type of an evil lair lifting up out of the water. When these, I'll send it in the group chat later. When these stories get brought up, I just feel like they're all like sitting around a table, like, yes, what can we do this week that can make people lose faith?
Yes, and so while the majority of, there are maybe some decent little things sprinkled in here that we'll get to, but like, let's just start with the real heavy hitters. So Activision had its annual shareholders meeting. Let's start with the what we knew was inevitable, that grade A shithead Bobby Kotick and the rest of the board were all reelected, despite quote unquote organizing efforts to get shareholders to revolt against that. Yeah. That was never going to happen.
Don't you remember they investigated themselves, saw they did nothing wrong, and said that Bobby was okay.
Yeah. There was no actual indication of systemic.
There's no systemic problems in Boss USA.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was terrible. But then people were like, then the next one is like at the, again, this is at the same shareholders meeting. People were touting this one as a success, but while completely glossing over this one critical fact. But
I love this. I love this so much.
Despite board pressure against the effort, shareholders voted in favor of a resolution for the company to release an annual report about workplace misconduct. However, this thing is non-binding. We cannot stress enough. The board has no pressure on them to comply with this. This is a completely toothless success, if you want to call it that way. The board
can literally just flip them all off
say,
and
no.
say, well,
do you remember?
They can literally say this is a bad use of our resources. This is what they said about it. It's like,
what they said.
It's like we're like, committed to doing this in our own way, so we'll just do it that way. That has no form of oversight whatsoever. But they said the board will, quote, carefully consider if they will comply.
Do you remember?
But nothing requires them to do so.
There was a Dave Chappelle skit where it was like flipping the justice systems.
Yes.
This is giving me
we need to do that.
Well, this is giving me the vibes of when whatever his name, the crack dealer, was in court, or like they had like the tape recorder on the table. And like, just say you'll never do it again. And he was like, like shaking his head no while he was saying yes. And
absolutely. But yeah, so that was the big news from their shareholder meeting. There were a bunch of shareholder meetings that
it's shareholder time.
It's that time of year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
But so again, I mean, I have to put a sarcasm warning here, just because not trying to get canceled, but say I have here written in my notes, perhaps the most criminal thing that Activision has done in recent years is scrapping the remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. Again, sarcasm. I'm not serious about that, but it is still criminal that they've done that. But yeah, in a recent live stream, the man himself, Tony Hawk, stated that Activision scrapped the potential remakes after the merger and then eventual dissolution of the original developers they were the original developers of 2, 3, and 4, as well as the 1 and 2 remake.
Yeah, and they folded them into the COD group, right?
Yes.
Because one group got folded into COD and one group got folded into Blizzard.
Actually, this may have been the Blizzard one. This may have been Blizzard. That whole studio got completely dissolved.
Yep.
But the 1 and 2 remake was their last game and
it was well received. People really liked it and were really excited for 3 and 4. And Activision, because they know better than what their fans want, said no, you don't get that. You get a new Modern Warfare 2 that you didn't ask for, that we know you actually wanted.
So they stated that.
It was because they couldn't find a studio that they thought could do it justice when they had a studio.
Yeah. That's it. I was just gonna say is we love the potent irony here. It's like, they were accepting pitches from other studios, but they couldn't trust anybody as much as they could Vicarious. But they don't exist anymore. So we're not gonna do that. More meat for the COD machine. Yeah.
It's the Eric Andre meme of them shooting the guy in the chair, being like,
"Who did this?
How could the fans have done this to us?
Why are you doing this?" I'm just glad that Activision knows my true wants and dreams.
They've got a window into your soul. They know what you want and what you crave.
It's called they buy all your social media data,
even better than my own
Facebook.
Self.
Right, so I think actually the next 3 all have stories, from each company's shareholder meetings. So the next one is Square Enix, as we foreshadowed before in their call, which they were touting the financial success of Final Fantasy 15. They're also dropped the news that they are making story-focused NFTs. Cool.
It's one of those things that I feel like reading a little bit in between the lines of Square Enix, I feel like they're already trying to backpedal a little bit. on the NFT stuff.
I don't know if I agree with that, because it's like they've had plenty of opportunities to really just like forget about it, because that's would be their best bet, is just to stop talking about it. You know, it's like the market is crashing. The bottom has completely fallen out.
No.
No one will hold it against them for just forgetting about it and not doing it. So like, it goes back to, hold on, I just want to finish this one thing. We've brought it up in the past. The question is, how much do we think that they've already sunk into this? It's like that. It's basically that they cannot do that because they have already put too much money into it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've invested in it already, so they have to do something with it. But they're doing different new IP. They're not attaching it to their golden gooses, their golden geese. Sorry, mooses, meese.
Yeah, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy.
Yeah, they're not attaching it to
a bit too early.
Yeah, they're not attaching it to their pinnacle franchises.
See,
so I think this is we've already spent some money, so let's see if we can do something with it. But if it doesn't work, it's a new IP. We can just throw it in the trash and we can move on. Is my only thought process.
Maybe that's fair. But I'd love to learn what that fucking means, because they did not specify in any sense at all what that means. Story based or story focused NFTs.
It means you'll be able to bring your favorite character from one game.
I was
to the
thinking
next
maybe
and
it's
keep
something
all
along the
their
lines of
stats.
unique side quests. Like you purchase like a side quest package that only you have because of the blockchain, or NPCs or something like that who add to that. I don't know.
Cool. Sounds cool. Like, oh fuck, man. All right, but yeah, so again, they're full steam ahead here. Because their next thing was that they made an investment for an undisclosed amount of money into French cloud streaming company Black Nut, which I'm just gonna
Sounds so bad.
like, again, that's just such a funny name to me. But like,
Now say it in French.
Black Nut. Yeah, apparently but this is apparently a service that's already been live in 45 countries, spanning Europe, North America, South Asia, expanding into Latin America and the Middle East. Black Nut is, I just can't keep a straight face every time I have to read that across my screen. But like their growth is coming from making partnerships directly with ISPs to implement their services, which I guess makes them a little bit more a little bit less ethereal, that they've got actual infrastructure built into it. But I also, again, find it funny that there were plenty of stories about this investment, but I couldn't find anything about the amount of money that they put into it.
Yeah, I was trying to find that too. I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm gonna guess that it's a couple $100 million.
Probably, but it's like, man, all these companies they're just they're snake oil salesmen. It's all, and again, it's all front. I guess good on Black Nut. I guess, like, they're fleecing Square for probably several $100 million. So. And are they going to need to provide anything for that? No. All right. I think let's, unless anybody has anything else on that one, let's keep this train moving.
On to the next axis of evil.
Yes, which maybe had
No, I do respect grifting the grifters.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Maybe there was some more positive-ish stuff in this one, but like, again, we'll get to it. I've got like conflicting opinions about a lot of these things. Say Ubisoft has been had quite a bit of news lately, which has been interesting to me, largely because they've essentially been completely absent from this past month or so of not E3, which is, again,
Ubisoft went into the closet, locked the door, and is just like, I'm not here, go away.
Yeah, please just forget about me. But they had one positive story coming out that they are taking a somewhat firmer stance than some studios, but not as firm as others on they're one of several publishers and studios that are offering financial support to women and LGBTQ employees affected by the various bits of legislation and court rulings that are overturning things like Roe and limiting access to critical healthcare like abortions and gender affirming surgeries and stuff like
don't
that.
get it twisted though. This is a play because they don't want you to go out on maternity leave that they have to pay you for. Like they recognize it's cheaper to just help you with services you may need as opposed to doing that.
I didn't think of it that way, but that there's definitely, I think, that element too. But
it's gotta
so
be
like
part of it.
Ubisoft like was like kind of walking this kind of strange line here of like, they're like, yeah, we support our employees who need this critical healthcare, but they're not actually specifying the reasons why the need to provide this is there. They're not taking stances, say like, Bungie has been the most vocal and the most strident in their opinions. Again, when the first when the leaked draft of the overturning of Roe came out like 7 weeks or so ago, we talked about how we made this point that like, yeah, it's good that these companies are doing this, but that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case that you have to rely on the benevolence of your employer to provide you out of the goodness of their hearts with the healthcare that you need. And particularly like when you see the scenarios where the man himself, Brandon, has said that like, oh yeah, all these companies that are going to give you the transportation funds to go get an abortion, yeah, all those people are still probably going to get prosecuted by states for doing such things, for traveling across state borders to get an abortion. You're still going to be liable. So again, these are band-aids that do not address the roots of these problems, which is the asymmetrical balance of power in this country. So
I mean,
never a good thing when you've turned your rights over to the private markets.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not to follow that story up with more Ubisoft putting band-aids on things, but they've also recently announced quote unquote DLC for Riders Republic and Skull and Bones.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I didn't send it today, but yeah, go ahead.
Addressing climate change, where Riders Republic will launch a forest fires awareness.
An in-world forest fire. I'm just like,
where you have to race to like put out sequoia trees or something like that.
Yeah, you gotta protect sequoia trees by like wrapping them in tin.
There's no clear indication that anything.
Oh my god!
Anything is being done like monetarily, like they're like maybe like donations or anything like that.
Like in the real world. What about stopping forest fires in the real world?
Yeah, like there's no indication.
We'll just gamify the looming hellscape we all live in.
And then Skull and Bones is supposed to be a event centered around the overfishing of sharks. I think it was something about
shark fin trade.
Yeah, like the shark fin trade. But again, no indication of if they're doing anything donation wise for, supporting the act of trying to prevent overfishing.
Hey,
I don't know who the people would be.
Man,
Greenpeace.
spreading awareness is enough. I don't know why you think you need money.
If we can sell battle passes surrounding it, then all the better.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh yeah, they're going to be multiplayer co-op efforts, like limited season-based things, and it's like, yeah, again, monetizing our descent into absolute chaos and destruction. So you'll see it, but pour one out, little sad cry face for poor CEO Yves Guillemot, like is elected to take a pay cut of approximately $330,000. Because of poor performance of the company.
So that he's getting a $330,000.
How many shares are you not get? Yeah, and it's not even that. It's like how many. He didn't say anything about his shares. He's still gonna take.
No, and this was his bonus, and this was his bonus.
Yeah,
he's still taking home it's like almost 660,000 for the bonus.
Yeah,
he's just taking a pay cut
of the bonus.
He's taking a percentage of his bonus, not his regular salary. Nothing to do with his shares.
Looks like I worked 20 hours of overtime this week.
It was just like, oh no, I hope he can get by without that $330,000. Like, oh no.
Which of the
man,
yachts doesn't get fueled up for that rate?
Yeah. Oh, he might have to let go of his housekeeper in the one location he never visits. Like,
but yeah. So then the rest that's come out for them has just been the Skull and Bones is potentially getting a final release date sometime this month. I said the announcement that is coming out sometime
November
this month.
release date is the one that's
for
rumored.
November. Well, and so is the rumored release date for their next one that again we haven't seen anything of is the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. They're thinking releasing that in November.
Is there anything more
ahead of the release
than an
second
Avatar
movie.
game also just getting this nebulous, like we're not going to tell you when it's coming out, like it's just working on it, just like Avatar 2, where it was just every year
we're seeing more stuff for that now.
Yeah, but like every year James Cameron would just wander out and be like, I'm gonna make a better one, bigger, more water,
more wet, more blue, more cat people, more tail fucking. We know what you want to see, but
catch the Campaign Comrades vlog as we chronicle our journey to the IMAX theater 2 hours out of the way.
Yes, just to try to reclaim our
lost
youth. Yeah. All right. So this was the one though that I wanted to I kind of briefly mentioned from the they showed the little bit of Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope in the Nintendo Mini Direct, but they also then announced in that direct that the next day Ubisoft was going to have their own dedicated showcase for the game itself. And I know we've been talking about like Matt and I, who are the turn-based tactical combat sickos here in the Comrades. We didn't really like have much that we thought was like I would say for me at least the world itself didn't really interest me. I have no knowledge or interest or attachment at all to the Rabbids. Like they're weird to me. Like
just a quick aside here, Ubisoft, the Rabbids were a side character for Rayman. Where's my Rayman game, Ubisoft? Why are side characters getting more recent releases than him? Where are the side characters crossing over with Mario while Rayman just sits sadly with no arms?
But I will say this showcase did actually interest me. What they showed of the combat actually looked cool. It actually looked like there was real tactical decisions to make, that there's real emergent ways of how the mechanics of different characters interact with each other. I was kind of fascinated by the idea of yes, turn-based but real-time action on those turns. I really want to see how that works out, because if that's true and effective, that is something definitely really new and something that I could potentially like to see move into other games of the genre. So yeah, that had some things that sparked my interest. I was definitely more intrigued by this game than I had been in the past. So I'll still hold my breath, see how it is when it comes out. But again, I'll just finish off this bit about Ubisoft. It's like, so that was an interesting one. Skull and Bones is one that I've been interested in because it's a spin-off of, I think it was the last Assassin's Creed game I played with Black Flag. It's the spin-off of that one. I fucking love that game. I'd love to do like the seafaring pirate combat, but it's like, so like I'm so torn. It's like that, like I'm actually excited for those two games, I guess, but yet I'm still actively rooting for Ubisoft's downfall. So it's like I don't know what I want. Do I want the games to be good and have them potentially save Ubisoft in its failing state, or really just put the nail in the coffin?
There's
I'm a little torn.
Weird Sony and Ubisoft partnership with their streaming platform, or the PlayStation Plus Premium, where you get like Ubisoft whatever added to it.
That's like, also potentially going into Game Pass too.
I was gonna say, so there's a potential that you can play this game without having to directly benefit Ubisoft before you decide if it's good enough to fully purchase.
And it's like, so here's the thing. It's like we were talking about this too, and this is our final, the final heavy hitter of again, enemies of the pod. That we're in such a weird area where it's like, again, we love games here at Campaign Comrades, yet it's so odd to find, it's like it's so weird to exist in this space where there are these companies who are like, actively hostile to making enjoyable experiences, actively hostile to their employees who create these games.
What they're hostile to is not being able to exploit people for their full dollar value. They want to make sure they get you for every penny.
Right.
I just don't appreciate
that's
when
what they're
game
being
companies
hostile to.
tell me that like my preference doesn't matter or like isn't real.
Right. Yeah. So this
Like
was
basically
it's a
saying
minor.
I'm not valid. I'm not seen.
It's
I'm not
minor.
heard.
It's essentially it's like minor Twitter drama, but it's like, the EA social team, did a play on, the recent meme that, they're a 10, but they do this or whatever. So they posted they're a 10, but they only like playing single player games. They tried to walk it back. But they tried to walk.
What a self-report.
Yeah, they tried to walk it back, but like, plenty of like former and current EA employees are like, who make single player games are like, what the fuck? It's like,
yeah.
Oh, you mean like Respawn with Jedi Fallen Order, which was like one of their runaway best games that EA has had.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, there's like, nope, we're a multiplayer, we're a Battlefield machine, which again,
how's
like,
2042 doing?
Back. Well, but again, it rings completely false when you have this other bit here that I pulled. That's so I think you're the one who sent this, Matt, is the head of DICE, who is a subsidiary now of EA, in an interview with GameIndustry.biz, is asking if they would be working on projects similar or in the vein of Mirror's Edge, or if those games were off the table. And in response to that, if they were off the table, she responded with saying, and this is the head, Rebecca Cutes, said, totally, she responded, we are only focusing on Battlefield 2042. There is no time for anything else, and this is what we want to do. In 3 years, we want to be the first-person shooter powerhouse that DICE deserves to be, and that this is what we're going for. So I don't want to like go on the flip side saying like that, oh, multiplayer games are bad, and it's like that you're a 10, but you play multiplayer games. That's not the point. It's like, trying to have one or the other is ridiculous. But like, again, it's my point comes back to, and it's like something that you were just kind of jokingly saying, Andrew, but it's like these companies, like are actively hostile to us because it's like, well, the driving force for these studios is it's the profit motive, right? That's it. That's the only thing that matters. It's not about creativity. It's not about making interesting or engaging experiences for players, whether multiplayer or single player. That's not what the question is. It's what makes the most money for the shareholders, bottom line. That's it.
Can't sell skins. It's so much harder for them to monetize those single player games in comparison to what they can do with these online multiplayer games where they can sell you skins, they sell you battle pass. You can make yourself potentially better in the online game by buying shit. Like, you just don't have those opportunities to monetize in a single player game. So that's, they're going to be hostile to that because they just want to force us all to participate in these other bullshit little markets they've created.
But at the time of recording, EA has still been embroiled in this bit. They were still trending like a day or two after that.
It's happened. So dumb. It's so dumb. Like, how stupid. How did they even like just so openly telling on themselves, like, we don't give a fuck about any sort of experience. We just want to make sure that we can collect your money in the online game store. Thanks,
bye. No, it's gross. It's gross. EA, has, had largely, stayed quiet, as companies like Activision and Square are like trying to like, take their title as, the worst publishers.
See, what I like
there,
to have imagined happened,
nope, they got to stick their foot back in it.
Was how like the like cartoon idea of like they like sit there and like they hold it in while everyone else is saying things. They're just like boiling up, and then they just had to release it. This was how they did it.
Yeah.
100%. We must do something.
Must say something bad about myself.
Yeah. All right. So again, these are, our enemies stay at it, and it's like the meme of Patrick Bateman, just like the, how I wake up every day knowing that my enemies are ontologically evil and there's no act against them is morally bad. It's just like, yeah, it's just how I feel some of these days. But yeah, okay, that's all I got here for us, folks. Any other lingering thoughts or anything else that I failed to pick up?
It's officially
fuck the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, should go without saying, but yeah.
All I was going to say, it's
Completely
officially
undemocratic. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you finish.
Yeah.
No, I'm done.
Okay. I was going to end with a lighter mood of it's officially Q3 Steam Deck time, which means someone on this podcast and any given recording could have a Steam Deck in his hands now.
Can't wait. No, I'm like, you're definitely gonna be bringing it over, and I'm gonna be testing it out as well.
Absolutely.
I've been watching a bunch of videos, like I think it was like PC World.
Yeah,
is the channel that's been doing it. That's like I played like 20 turn-based games, or I played 20 RPGs on the Steam Deck, and here's how they ran, and it's making me very excited. And I mean, again, it's taken all my self-control not to do put a reservation in for myself.
So like not to be that person, but like I can't wait to see what God of War handheld looks like. Because that's a full verified game. Like,
yeah, wild to me that you could do that.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine going back to 2018 when it launched on PS4 as one of the best looking PS4 games ever. And then just holding this handheld slightly larger than the Switch and being like, yeah, sup. They'd probably be like, oh my God, Sony made a new Vita.
Yeah. True.
All right. So it's plug time. Be sure to check us out on Twitch at campaign_comrades. We were just talking about before recording, we may be shaking up a little bit of our content just because there's so much stuff that goes on here, even not in a week where, like I said, this was like our holdover week where we took a week off and we had 2 weeks, a 2-week backlog and stuff. But there's so much interesting stuff to talk about that, we just simply do not have enough time for, because we're not doing 2-hour podcasts like we did last time. Again, apologies, listeners, for that one. And again, for Nico, thank you so much for, struggling through that one. But we're potentially going to be doing some live stuff to things that didn't make the cut for here in the podcast. We might be
uncut Comrades coming your way.
Yeah. Absolutely. So look out for that. Follow us on Twitter at CamComPods. That's where we'll be putting out announcements for what we got going on. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.